And so we look at good installation practice. All of this is covered in far more detail in the guide, but I'm just really hitting on some key things here. So early appointment of specialists is key, and I'm not just talking the thermal insulator here. I'm talking about that coordination between the pipe fitter, for example, and the thermal insulator, and that then has an effect on getting things like the insulated pipe support blocks right and things like that. So. So it's important to have that early adoption, early appointment of specialist trades, and make sure that is all coordinated. There are considerations even around things like the pipework system. For example, if it's stainless steel pipework, we need to consider about the correct application of foil around the pipework before the load bearing insulation blocks are applied and the insulation is applied. That acts as a sacrificial anode for the prevention of stress corrosion cracking caused by chlorides in water ingress, for example. So we can talk more about that in Q&A if that's a thing people want to talk about. But also we need to think about the whole system. It's a cladding as well as the insulation. It's a securements for the cladding. How is that cladding? If it's a metal cladding, how is that being secured? If it's been if it's involving a screw screwing the cladding together, is that screw penetrating the insulation? Would you be better with banding or rivets and things like that? All those are important aspects. And then we want to consider how exposed pipe equipment like valves might be insulated as well, and is the insulation material correct for use? Is it a valve jacket that is only suitable for internal locations, or is it suitable for purpose? And we need to think about things like ID in the pipe work as well. Anything you'd like to add on to that, Lawrence?
Um, no, I think one thing that we're calling for is for clear identification, because when we're doing surveys, we have no idea what's been installed. Um, Obviously, if it's metal clad, we've got a good idea. But I think it's really important that we start to get insulation marked up. So and therefore then you can adjust your maintenance regime. That if you know it needs to be possibly painted, um, then that can be added to people's thoughts, because if they don't know what it is, what's going to happen in a year's time. So that's the only thing really, Chris, is and obviously early employment of specialist trades is a really key thing there.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so we move on to good aftercare practice, and again, it's just really a list of things I'd just like to highlight. And what we're going to do is we'll have a quick look at these, and then we're going to move into our energy crime scene part of the presentation, where we can show you some of the things that might be seen in an aftercare scenario that can be picked up on. So yeah, we're talking a lot of this is common sense, but worth really going into. Obviously, we want to see that there's clear instruction at handover stage, and that there is a regular maintenance plan in place. We can't just expect, however good the installation is, we can't expect to just leave it on the roof and never look at it again. And we need to take into account some of these factors, like we've all seen those installations where people have used the pipe work as just a convenient step ladder to get to other places and things like that. So we need to consider what is the footfall, how many people are up and down on that roof, the wildlife, both winged and otherwise, and potential damage to the insulation, and the weather. As we say at the bottom of this, are things considered like additional inspections after named storm days. We had quite a powerful storm last week, didn't we? And we need to bear in mind that storms of a certain severity can cause damage in exposed areas. So, are we considering those named storm days as part of our ongoing inspection process? And that's a key one to mention. And we need to consider when we're looking as well. What are we actually looking at? Damaged um, damaged cladding, corrosion around, even things like pop rivets and things like that. Is that causing an area where there might be water ingress? Damaged, for example, PIB. Is it been UV degraded, just like certain types of unprotected foam types of unprotected foams might be. What degradation and damage are we seeing, and what are we going to do about it? And really, the fact that obviously it takes somebody inspecting regularly to see things, but at what point do you hand over to a specialist? So once that insulation is taken off for greater inspection, yeah, if it needs to be insulated and clad over again for an external environment, that is again a job for a specialist. So these are things to consider. Again, everything is in more detail in the actual a good practice document. Anything you would like to mention on this page before I hand over to you
Yeah,
again, Lawrence?
it's really interesting. We obviously rehearsed this, or we went through it, and different things come up. But one thing, everybody's telling me about AI. AI is going to do this. AI is going to do that. But what AI won't do is necessarily tell you if there's damage on the roof that's been caused by a storm. Yet, yes, we can measure things. We can measure temperatures and pressures. But really, we need to make sure that we continue to do these inspections, continue to look at the equipment and visually check it, and not rely on AI, because when the damage is done, it's going to be too late. And I think that's really important message here is go out, look, inspect, touch. You know, it's one of my big worries about AI is that we're just going to sort of make lazy people and think that we don't need those people to do those jobs. That's it, Chris.